Hey, Dr. Mike here. Interested in learning about the nut that's not really a nut? Stay tuned to learn more about coconuts.
You're listening to Live Foreverish, a show dedicated to helping you live just a little longer. Here's your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Crystal Gossard.
All right, welcome to Live Foreverish. So, Dr. Crystal, did you know that every September 2nd, it's World Coconut Day?
Woohoo! I just love these days,
I
food
know.
days.
Every food has a day now, it seems.
I know. I wonder what's behind that. I don't really care. I like food, so I like to
I don't doesn't bother me at
these things.
all. What's interesting living in, of course, the audience knows you and I are in South Florida, and we see coconuts all the time, all year long, right? I mean, and
Mhm.
so when I see World Coconut Day, I'm like, yeah, coconuts. So I see them all the time. But most people don't live in places where they see coconuts at all.
I know. So it's always good to be reminded about, different foods in this instance, coconut, and just how beneficial coconut is. I know it gets a bad rap here or there,
Yeah,
depending
I
on
don't
where
think
you
it's that
search.
fair. I don't think it's that fair though, right? So we're going to get into that today. So let's
Yes.
start with this, Dr. Crystal, because I said in the teaser, the nut that isn't a nut. Now we got to explain that. So what exactly are coconuts?
Yeah. So it is a fruit. Or if we would like to be specific, Dr. Mike, a drupe. That's drupe.
I like that better.
And a drupe is a fruit with a hard, stony covering enclosing the seed.
Yeah. And so when you see a coconut, that's just what do they call it? The husk, basically, right? And that
Yeah.
you have to peel that away. Then you get to the seed, and then everything that's really good is inside the seed.
Yes. The meat and the coconut water and yum, yum, yum.
Yeah, good stuff. So basically when you look at the coconut, the reason it's so versatile is you have the coconut meat with which could be food in a sense, right? You got the coconut water, and I know we're going to talk about that because it's quite nutritious. There's something to drink, and then we also get oil, coconut oil, at the same time. So it's pretty versatile, right?
Right. And Dr. Mike, coconut milk too.
Coconut, yeah, that's even growing in popularity these days, right? No more cow's milk because we're not cows. So it's great to see the plants coming along making milks.
The plants, well, that's a whole nother topic, Dr. Mike, that maybe we can tackle on another podcast because the real milk advocates, they don't want us to call coconut milk milk.
Wait, you mean you don't actually milk the plant or the coconut? That's
Right.
news to
They're
me.
like, we hold the claim to milk. You cannot call these things milk. You can call them milk alternatives or
Where's the udder of the
whatever.
milk? Where does coconut have an udder?
Yeah, so stay tuned when
Okay.
we figure out who's going to win that battle.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. So let's talk a little bit about why we're celebrating World Coconut Day. There's a lot of different health benefits. I think right out. So I'm going to start with coconut water. Okay,
Okay.
because I think that to me is there's no brainer right at this point. Coconut water is loaded with a bunch of antioxidants, but I also know you've laid out some of the minerals and stuff that are in there. Let's review that because that's pretty good stuff.
Right. So coconut water, this is a fun fact that I'm about to share, Dr. Mike, has been used in intravenous hydration in emergencies due to its similarity to blood plasma. Did you know that?
I've never well, I worked a long time in hospitals. We never used coconut water, but anything that matches what's called the osmolarity of your plasma, meaning that the water moves and it doesn't leave your cells only, is great. So anything that's equal to your plasma is going to be very hydrating.
Exactly. So, 1 cup of coconut water will give you some sodium, 252 milligrams of sodium. And for some people, they may be shocked. Oh my goodness. In fact, my dad, I was talking to him about coconut, and he has always avoided coconut water because of the sodium. You look at that sodium and you think, wow, that's a lot. However, it also contains in that one cup 600 milligrams of potassium.
Boom. There you go.
Boom. So now you have the sodium or the potassium balancing out that sodium, which gives you a favorable ratio, really, to
Huge.
have more potassium, two, 3 times the amount of potassium per the amount of sodium. So that's really not a concern. About 57 milligrams of calcium, you're getting about 60 milligrams of magnesium. So when you start looking at those minerals, those electrolytes, coconut water's certainly starting to sound enticing.
We talked about this. So what was that? 2 weeks ago, we did a live coconut show, right? Life Extension Live, and I think I beat you when it came to opening the coconut, right? You remember all that?
I do not remember that,
Yeah,
Dr.
no,
Mike.
I won. I won hands down. It wasn't even close. If you want to check that out, that's Life Extension Live on Facebook. We talked about the water, and when you list out all those minerals that you just did, it always reminds me of the DASH diet, which is the dietary approach to stopping hypertension. It's
Mhm.
less sodium, more potassium, more calcium, more magnesium. I mean, that's the DASH diet. Yeah, there's some sodium in there, but as you said, that potassium is balancing that out. So coconut water is a great choice for people, maybe even with high blood pressure.
Yeah, Dr. Mike, that is, I think for me, and for hopefully for our listeners, that should be an aha moment. And that is the difference between nature, what nature gives us, and what the food processors give us. Because oftentimes you can be alarmed by sodium in a processed food because it's not paired with that potassium.
Yeah.
When we're processing and we're making these overly processed foods, yes, we want it to taste good and bring back the potassium. It would be great if we
Bring
mimicked
back-
nature, this at least tried. And so you can never go wrong with,
It makes sense.
yeah, right?
Copy nature, but you're exactly right. We strip out the other good stuff. We leave a bunch of the sodium. We wonder why people have high blood pressure. I mean, yeah, I like
Exactly.
that. Bring back the potassium. That's going to be another show. Bring back the potassium.
I
Hey,
like
so
that one.
let's go from the water. So yeah, please. Now listen, be careful. I mean, your best way of doing coconut water is to get a coconut, learn how to open it, and pop a straw in it and drink it. Right?
That's
Yeah,
the best way.
be careful if you go to the store and you find coconut water in the aisle. Make sure they're not adding a bunch of sugar and other things to it. Right?
Thank you, Dr. Mike. I love coconut water, but now I find that you have to read those labels because they are adding all kinds of who knows what in that coconut water, including sugar, and it's
Well,
already sweet.
probably they're adding more salt and more sugar because we like salt and sugar. I mean, it's probably not a mystery.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, that's coconut water. Let's talk a little bit. This is kind of the controversy. The coconut oil, right? Um, Unlike other plant-based, nut-based, whatever oils, coconut oil is a saturated fat, right? Versus an unsaturated fat. So, tell us a little bit about that controversy then.
Yeah. So a high percentage of the fats in the coconut oil. And again, to get that oil, they're taking the meat, kind of the white fleshy part, and pressing it out and getting the oils from that meat. And it is saturated. Now, here's where the controversy comes in. You have the one school of thought or the researchers that say, you know what, it's saturated, but when you look at fats or the chemistry or the chemical makeup of fats, the longer saturated fats, that those chains of fats tend to be more problematic than those shorter fat chains.
Okay, right.
So coconut has what's called medium chain triglycerides, or those fats are a little bit shorter in length. And there's research that those medium chain fats or triglycerides can increase fat burning, they can aid in weight loss. And that led to people, obviously, what we do here in America. Wait, coconut oil. Yes, that's it. I'm getting rid of my butter, coconut oil, everything. I'm frying my eggs in coconut
It
oil.
did. It was really big there for a while, wasn't it? Everybody was talking about coconut.
Right. And so now you have the heart experts coming in and saying, whoa, 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 slow down here. We're still talking about saturated fat.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
research is still showing that saturated fat is linked with heart disease. And therefore, you still need to limit coconut oil. Although it's a shorter chain saturated fat, you still need to stay within the saturated fat parameters
Yeah,
and
yeah.
don't overdo it.
I don't. Let's be honest, though. At the same time, I don't think the standard American Medical Association, the cardiologist out there, I don't think they really look into whether it's a medium chain, short chain, long chain. If it's just saturated, it all goes into that statement that we have to limit it. Because there have been some smaller trials showing that medium chain triglycerides actually improve HDL, for instance, the good cholesterol.
You have seen that in the research. So yes, we cannot deny that research where you have seen some increases in HDL, but you also see the increases in LDL. So basically, you're seeing an increase in all those lipids.
Yeah.
So here's my takeaway as a nutritionist is that you need to incorporate moderation at all times. What about that, Dr. Mike?
I mean, yes, sure. I mean that's how absolutely a variety of fats, a variety of oils, a variety of fruits and vegetables. Um, Obviously, that's the best way to go. I mean, if you're eating the same thing over and over again, that's just not a good way to do things. At the end of the
Right.
day, right? Hey, so let's go. Let's talk about sugar in coconut, natural sugar in coconut. Most people would say that coconut is a low glycemic food overall, right? And I think this is now more about the water, about the meat, right? Low glycemic. Tell us what you think about that, and I think you have some numbers
Yeah.
there.
So when you look at the coconut water, there is about 6 grams of sugar per cup. Also, kind of the canned milk, if they haven't added any additional sugar, there's about 6 grams there. But there's also fiber in the water.
There you go.
Yes. So what does that fiber do? That slows down the absorption of that sugar. So when you talk about low glycemic, what we're referring to is how quickly your blood sugar increases after you consume that particular food or drink.
Right.
And so if you have fiber slowing things down, then you're not getting the sugar spikes.
Right, which is the key, right? We've talked about that so many times. It's the
Yeah.
sugar spikes that are going to lead to insulin issues, and that's what's going to lead ultimately to I should say potentially diabetes. Uh, but 6 grams in a cup, 8-ounce cup, that's really not that bad. I mean, think about some of the other sugary drinks out there, the energy drinks, the sodas, right? I mean, they're triple that, quadruple that. I mean, so you're talking about natural sugars with fiber, and that's why people call it a low glycemic food overall, right?
Right.
So, what do you like to do then with the meat, the coconut meat? I know you like to play around and try recipes. Have you done anything with coconut meat?
Well, right now, I'm just trying to find the best way to get the meat out of the coconut. So my experience with coconut meat at this point is on YouTube videos trying to
Yeah.
find hacks. So if you
Yeah.
have a hack, send it,
Well,
send a comment with a hack on how to do it. Cause right now I'm just using a spoon and trying to kind of slowly scoop it out. And maybe my coconut is too mature and that meat's a little too hard. You can scoop it easier if it's a young coconut.
yeah.
But yes, I like to use that meat when I can get it out, use it in like health bars. So I'll use a
I
little
do
almond
too.
butter, take some cocoa powder, take some of that
Mm,
coconut meat,
sounds good.
a little bit of some dates. You've got you a
Oh,
good, nice
yeah.
protein, homemade protein bar. I roll them into little balls and they are delish. So
Yeah,
you
and
can make a
the
lot
kids like
of
it.
nice
The
recipes.
kids like it too, right? I mean, it's
Oh,
great.
yes.
Yeah.
And you don't
I
feel bad as a parent.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Again, and now you could go to the grocery store. There's coconut meat. It comes in shaved form, chunk form now, whatever. Again, just be careful, right? Just make sure they're not adding a bunch of stuff to it. I did. I think I told you this at a local store that Krista and I go to. I tried. They were handing out. It was the coconut chunks of
Hmm.
the meat, but it was raw. It wasn't. They didn't do anything to it, and it was not very pleasurable. It
Dr.
definitely
Mike,
needed some sugar.
you have to train your palate for delicacies.
I know, I know. All right, so hey, it's World Coconut Day. There you go. You got health benefits from the water, very hydrating overall. You have health benefits from the meat. Even the oil. If you're doing it in moderation, those medium chain triglycerides are probably a good way to go. So yeah, Dr. Chris, I think the coconut is good. It's here to stay and it should stay.
Yes.
All right. So, hey, I want to thank everybody for listening to Live Foreverish. Don't forget, you can go to liveforeverish.com. And when you go there, there's a bunch of other episodes you can download, like, share, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a show. As a matter of fact, we call it the 1-2 punch,
Pew,
right?
pew.
You go to liveforeverish.com. First thing you do is you give your email address and that way you join, our personal you Live Foreverish family and you'll get specials and newsletters and stuff like that. But then you can also subscribe to your favorite place that you listen to your podcast. So it's the 1-2 punch at
Yep.
liveforeverish.com. So go check it out. I'm Dr. Mike. Thanks for listening.